Hi guys, what's up? It's good to see you again. If you haven't watched our first financial testimony video, I'm going to link it below. So much has changed in our finances since we got married. God's fully brought us through the desert season of what we experienced in our finances this past year. And I just want to speak to anybody personally out there right now who has been searching YouTube for financial testimony videos to build up your faith. I 1000% understand how you feel. I understand feeling like God is blessing everyone around you and He's not blessing you. I have felt that way before, and I just need to tell you right now, He sees you, He knows the exact amount of money in your bank account, He knows the exact amount of money that you're praying for. He's not pushing you aside. He is not focusing on other people and ignoring you. At this point in time, there's been over 9,000 people watching our financial testimony video that I shared, reaching out to me on Instagram, finding me on Facebook and messaging me, asking me personally for prayer. I just want to say thank you guys for your response. Thank you for following along and for your encouragement. So the point of this video is to just kind of shed some light on Chris and I's history with God, praying for breakthrough, what God has taught us over the years. And I think a lot of the time these financial testimony videos do a disservice to the people watching them because it's so easy to focus on the testimony and the breakthrough and not share the hard transformation that God did to get them to that point where He was able to trust them with finances. I've really felt convicted reading through all the comments on our YouTube video to just bring some clarity into the proper heart to have when you're praying for financial breakthrough. I'm not an expert in this. We've just really been processed by God over the last 2.5 years. We have had to continually die to ourselves to be trusted with God's increase, to be trusted with multiplication of our finances. I just want to share with you guys what that's looked like and what He's taught us. I really do believe that our desire to be a steward for God has impacted the way that He has blessed us with His money. He's really made sure that we have beyond everything that we need in our lives, and we've given Him permission to come search our hearts and get rid of anything that's not from Him, get rid of any selfish desires and selfish motives. I just want to tell you right now that He is so dedicated to you. He is moving mountains for you. He is working behind the scenes for you. Every time that I've lost hope or been in a season of struggling and wondering when God was going to break through for me, I've been through seasons of Him blessing the people around me and wondering, God, when are you going to bless me? When are you going to break through for me? Like, when's that going to come? Like, I need you to move in this situation. I've experienced that and I know how that feels. And I know how it feels to watch YouTube videos and hear of everyone else's financial breakthroughs and wonder when yours is going to come. And I just want to encourage you that He's a good Father. He's a good God. He knows what you need. He is going to provide for you. And I just want you to rest in that peace right now and rest in knowing that. It's not about performing. It's not about striving. It's not about perfecting yourself so that He can give you what you want. It's not about any of that. It's about a friendship with Him. It's about a relationship with Him. He is everything that you need. Money without God is nothing. All of it is worthless without Jesus. There's no breakthrough that God can bring you that will take the place of His presence and His love. He's the best thing that has ever happened to me. No financial breakthrough or apartment or home or job offer or salary will ever compare to His love for you. And that is accessible right now. So that is the best part of life, plain and simple. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is if you're praying for more finances, God will give you more when He can trust you to be a good steward. I've always wanted to be used for God with my money. I've always wanted my finances to honor Him and bless Him. I have to share, historically, in my past, I was so bad with money and I still struggle with making stupid purchasing decisions to this day. I used to blow all my money on hats and clothes and candles and decorations. So if you're out there and that is you, trust me, I totally understand how demoralizing it is and how there's a little bit of shame involved in that, especially when you're asking God for provision. You feel like you don't deserve it because you don't even feel like you could manage it if he did bring you provision that you were asking for. Being a good steward is really important in God's eyes. He wants to trust you with more, and he wants to provide for you, but he really wants to teach you before he brings that breakthrough how to handle what you have right now. God wants you to be faithful in little so that you can be faithful in much. Someone left a comment on my last YouTube video about our financial breakthrough saying, how do I know what my little is that I need to be faithful in? The little that you have is, maybe you don't have extra finances to give money to people, but you have enough groceries to maybe invite somebody over for dinner. Chris and I have done this. We couldn't really afford to give a bunch of money to our tithe or to church, but we would have somebody over and just bless them every now and again for dinner. Maybe your paycheck is really small, but that's what you steward, that's what you have. You don't need to be making a certain amount of money before you start thinking about how you're stewarding what you have. Something that God has really convicted me in this year is how I'm using the things that he's blessed me with. For example, God gave us this apartment. We couldn't afford it, and he overnight provided for us to be able to pay our rent. In a time where we got married and we didn't think that we would be able to even have enough money to be able to have our own home and live together, God supernaturally provided for us to have this space. So something that God has really convicted me in over the years is, how are you using the space that I've blessed you with? And obviously this isn't a money thing per se, this is more so a space thing and our home. But I have really felt convicted to stop being stingy with my space and to give it to God just like it's his, just like this is his home. And maybe I don't want to invite somebody over, but does God want to invite that person over? And basically giving him authority in my home to really listen to him and understand what he wants me to do with this space, not what I want to do with this space. So that's been something that we've been really trying to be obedient in and to be good stewards in, not just of our money, but of our space that God has blessed us with. And another thing, we've been praying for a home lately. We've been praying for God to supernaturally provide the finances and the ability to purchase a home. I know a lot of people are praying that prayer right now, but we have definitely been pressing into that as well. Something that God has been really asking us throughout this process of us praying for a home is, how are you going to use the home that I give you? We've been telling God, oh, we want to use it for like ministry. We want to have people over for dinner. Like we want to, God in his cheekiness has said, well, are you doing that now? Are you using your apartment for the things that you say you're going to do later? And it's easy to say, oh God, when I get $10,000, $20,000, when I get this much of a raise, like then I'm going to tithe to you. Then I'm going to start being generous. Then I'm going to give money to this person or that person, or give the homeless man on the street like $5. Like I'll make sure I do that if you give me this amount. And I was guilty of that. I was always pushing off being obedient to God in my finances. I was always pushing off tithing, pushing off giving, pushing off being generous to people. And that's something that God has really spoken to me about and said, if you want to be trusted with more, you need to be trusted and trustworthy in what you have right now. Okay, that brings me to my second point, and the second thing that we have learned with God: we'll only be trustworthy if we let God transform our hearts. So how many parables are there where people were trusted with money and then they squandered it and then God took it away? Or the manager took it away. A lot of the times God will give you the finances and he's going to test you in how you handle it. And if you don't handle it according to how he has asked you to handle those finances, you might find yourself getting those finances taken away. God is going to keep coming back, keep looking at your heart, making sure that you're on the right path for yourself, making sure that you're not heading down a path of destruction. It's his mercy that does this. It's his mercy that makes sure that we're not destroyed by the blessings that he gives us. And that's a really important point, is that if his blessings are going to destroy you, if you haven't let your heart be transformed, you're not going to be able to carry what he wants to give you. And we've really had to let ourselves be transformed over this whole process of learning how to be good stewards and learning how to handle our wealth and learning how to be used by God and learning how to not let our love of money or the love of money overtake our hearts. God's always watching us because he loves us, he cares about us, and he doesn't want us to be destroyed by the things that he gives us. So again, if you're searching for financial breakthrough, if you're asking God and you're praying, let the prayer of God transform my heart so that I can carry your blessings, so that I can carry your goodness. Let that prayer be something that you pray. He's going to honor that. He's going to see your desire for for good stewardship. He's going to see your desire to have his will and his way in your heart and not just your will and your way. So the other thing that God's really taught us during this time, tithing has totally transformed our lives. I'm going to link a few books below that have really helped me understand the principle of tithing. If tithing freaks you out, I would really recommend taking that up with God, because that is the first sign of a major heart problem and an issue with money. I understand it's really hard. It's a hard concept, but I promise you that you want God to have your first fruits. You want him to have your 10% tithe, because he is the only one who's able to bless the rest of your money. He's the only one who's able to bless your income. If you want your money to not just be slowly bleeding out of you and feeling like you never have enough or not sure where it even goes, God can bless your income. He can bless your storehouses. He can bless your finances. He can multiply your finances. He can bring new things to you to create finances. God gives us the ability and the power to create wealth. And we have seen through tithing, we give immediately right when we get paid, before we pay our bills, before we make sure that we have enough for the rest of our stuff. We choose, just like it's a really important bill to pay, we see tithing and giving to God first as the most important first use of how we spend our money, and we do that before we do anything else. We've seen money just come randomly in from checks in the mail. We've seen gift money just come in randomly. During that time period where Chris did not have a job and it was COVID and we barely had enough money, we didn't stop tithing. We didn't stop doing what God had taught us to do. We chose to trust him. We chose to know that and believe that he was going to provide for us abundantly beyond all that we ask and imagine, that he's taking us through another level of transforming. We didn't stop tithing when we lost our jobs, and God has abundantly honored us for doing that, for always putting him first and not breaking a promise that we've made to him. We've seen our finances multiply and not diminish over this whole pandemic, over a lot of hardships in our jobs. We have more in savings now than we've ever had before. We have more streams of income coming into our life, more job opportunities, more partnerships with people, more random incomes coming into our life than we ever had before. And we've consistently tithed all of those things. We truly believe it belongs to God, and we have seen him honor us in doing that. So again, I'm going to link some books below that have really helped me and helped Chris in really understanding this principle and making sure that we carry it out. I'd really recommend looking into it yourself and just learning more about what tithing means. The Blessed Life book by Robert Morris has been the best book I've ever read about kingdom principles of finances and just how to operate in the spiritual principles of the kingdom when it comes to finances. Okay, so next thing, ask God for his vision for your money. God doesn't need your money. He owns everything. In heaven, the streets are paved with gold. He is not poor at all. We've been praying for this so much lately, for God to bring the provision for the dreams that he's put in our heart, to bring the fullness of the provision of what we feel like he's called us to in our life. God has bigger plans for us than just helping us save for retirement. That is not his destiny over our life. We believe that God wants to make an impact with us. He wants to make an impact with our finances, that he's going to do things through us that we could never have done on our own. He has bigger dreams for us than the dreams that we've even dreamed for ourselves. And this is really important. If you have a poverty mindset, ask God to show you what his plans are for you, for your life, for your finances, how he wants to use you in the earth. I just declare right now, if you're dealing with a poverty mindset, if you feel like you never have enough, if you feel like no matter what you do, you'll never be good with money, if you feel like having money is bad or being blessed is bad, that God wants you to be poor and that being poor is holy, I just break that off of you right now. And I just declare that you're not going to be bound in cycles of poverty. You're not going to be bound in a poverty mindset. And I just release truth into your mind. I release the mind of Christ over you right now, that God has plans for your life. He has plans for your finances. He has plans for provision for you, and not just for barely enough, but for more than enough. And I just break any lies of the enemy off of you regarding your finances, regarding your destiny, regarding your identity. If you've struggled with finances in the past, I just declare and decree that starting from this day forward, you're going to prosper and thrive and have wisdom in your finances like you've never had before. And God, I just ask that you pour out your wisdom, that you pour out your breakthrough on every single person watching this right now, that they experience your love, that they know that they don't have to strive for provision from you, God. Make them tremble in awe of your goodness, God. So I just thank you that you're doing that in their lives right now. And thank you for a breaking out of an Egypt season of their life, a breaking out of a season of poverty, and causing them to pass over into a land flowing with milk and honey, and not just a land of blessings, God, but give them the wisdom and the knowledge and the revelation that they need from you to be able to steward this new promised land that you're bringing them into. Lastly, see your finances as the thing that's going to bring Jesus his reward. He's not offended if you want to buy a home. He's not offended if you want to buy a car. He's not offended if you're asking for money to pay rent or if you need to pay your mortgage. He's not offended by any of that. We've literally prayed for all of those things, and we're still praying for all of those things. We're praying for a home. We're praying for streams of wealth to come into our lives. We're not ashamed to ask God for the things that we need. He's not offended by you asking for provision, but his vision for you is to use your finances for his glory, to bring Jesus the reward that he died on the cross for you to impact people, to impact nations, to impact the broken systems around you, to have money to build things, to give away to people, to radically bless people with no thought for your life, to have so much excess that you give without fear. God wants that for your life. God wants you to be the lender, not the borrower. And if that's you, if you're always seeing yourself as the borrower, not the lender, I just break that off of you right now, and I declare that you will be the lender, you will not be the borrower. This is what we want for our lives too. We want to lend money to people, we don't want to borrow money. We want to be treasure chests for God on the earth. And we see in the parables in the Bible, people that he gave money to that stewarded it well. He gave them authority over cities. Take that seriously for a second. I live in San Diego, so let's just assume I'm the person in this parable who handled my finances well, and God gives me authority over the city of San Diego. If my heart is aligned with God, and if I'm in love with him and I want his plans, how am I going to impact the city of San Diego? Like, let's just take it seriously, that parable saying like how much God is going to give you authority over if he sees that you're trustworthy. I want that level of authority in the spheres that God has called me to. And finances are so much more than just money. It's truly the method that God tests you to see if you are trustworthy. How you handle your money is going to be how trustworthy he sees you with people, how trustworthy he sees you with nations. You're going to be trustworthy with souls. It's not just about being trustworthy with money. It's about being trustworthy with people's souls, about being trustworthy with getting people into the kingdom, and he's going to enable you to do that. So ultimately, it's all about Jesus. It's all about making sure we bring him in his reward. So ask God what that looks like. Ask Jesus how your finances and your home can help bring Jesus his reward. He deserves it. He's more than worthy of all that we own, of all that we are, of all that we have, all that he's blessed us with. So ask him how you can glorify him through the blessings that he's given you. Ask him how I can love the blesser more than the blessing. I want to love God more than I love his gifts. So just ask him to show you what that looks like. He's going to bring you the breakthrough, but in the meantime, ask him what he wants to transform in you so that he can trust you with more than what you're even believing for yourself. So that's all I have for you today, guys. I just pray a blessing over you, a financial breakthrough over you. God, I ask that you break them out of every poverty cycle that's been hindering them in their lives and bring them into their land flowing with milk and honey. Bring them into their promised land, God. Stay tuned, guys, for our next financial testimony video. A lot of stuff has happened since the last one. I'm going to walk you through the whole process of what God's been doing in our lives and just how he's shown his faithfulness to us. So thank you for listening today and for tuning into this video update. And I'm just praying for you for your hearts to be transformed and for God to teach you and reveal to you the plans that he has for you, for your finances and for your lives. So subscribe if you have not already, guys. If you liked this video, I guess push the like button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.